So I've thought about uh, different mental disorders and people and situations that I've encountered. And something that, and I've talked about this before, it's very destructive is whim worshiping. You see it on the political spectrum. I mean, people who advocate for their own, and I quote, rights, not actually rights, but they're advocating for privileges because they think they belong to a certain group. Or I've talked about mental disorders, I've talked about personality disorders. I took my own sort of philosophic viewpoint on that. And the issue is not it's not using conformity as a standard, because conformity to to other people is not a proper standard for anything, but reason is. So one of the problems, like I said, it's whim worshiping, people who are giving into their impulses. That's destructive. It's not having any regard for the long-term consequences for their own sake. But let's talk about this a little bit more. What exactly is a whim? What constitutes as whim worshiping? While I'm breathing oxygen, I assume you are too. You're breathing. That's not a whim, because you have a reason to do that. If I'm curious and I'm constantly asking questions, why is this way? Why is this person behaving like this? Is the curiosity whim worshiping? I mean, I believe I have a reason to think that way and to ask those questions. I want to understand it so that I could, package it into some knowledge that I can give to you, and I hope that it helps you as well. I can put this out for this discourse for other people. But what exactly constitutes as whim worshiping? Again, a lot of people use the standard of conformity. So people who are nonconformists will say they're whim worshipers. Now, the interesting thing is, a lot of people who are, quote, nonconformists are actually conformists in their own little clique. They're into like goth or whatever, or some other trendy thing. So that's just it. It's reason. Reason is the standard for mental health, and the standard whether or not something is a whim. If you have a reason, a logical reason to do something like breathing or ask questions all the time, that's not a whim, because there's a point, there's a purpose to what you're doing. But if you are constantly indulging in screen time, for example, if you have a phone in front of your face, that is indulging in whim worshiping. What reason do you have to put a phone in your face? Maybe you have a reason for that. You're communicating with a lot of important people, but probably not. The conversations, in most cases, in most people, those conversations are not that important to look on your phone all the time. Sure, you can engage in entertainment every once in a while. I like to play a game of chess, sometimes. But to do it all the time, all day long, when I have other things to do, well, that's whim worshiping. And that's not mentally healthy. So that is, once again, the standard for mental health, not conformity, not whether or not it meets the approval of other people, but whether or not there is a reason to do what you're doing.